Good evening, everyone. I hope we're live. I have no idea if we are live. Um, I guess I'll find out when we pop up on the screen. Yeah. Good evening. Good evening. It's been too long. We've been gone too long. Nathan Jones. No,
No,
right off the bat.
no,
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 no, not the right
right off,
manager.
not the
There we
right
go.
manager.
Well, with me, thinking he's been gone too long is my co-host. As always, it's the wonderful Mark Ryman. How are we getting on, Mark?
I'm good. Easy, right? I was going to do the easy, but I think that's copyright infringement on another quite famous football podcast, so I won't do it. But yeah, what a breeze that game was. Not stressful at all.
Yeah, no, walk in the park, walk in the park. Yeah, so we haven't done one of these since we were going to do the midweek live, but life finds a way, so we didn't do the midweek live. I didn't do a post match after Forest Green, and then we're here, so we got the Brighton match to discuss, and we got
Yeah,
the Forest Green match to discuss. So lots of wins and goals. Well, what was it you said before? It was 7 goals in two
in two
games.
games.
It's raining goals. Hallelujah. I'm rubbing my
No
hands
fence.
together because I'm so cold. No, I'm not going to sing. I'm not going to sing. Um, right. Good evening to everyone watching, and good evening to everyone in the chat. Bremistor says, "Is it that cold indoors, Ollie?" Well, as Barry Hatter says, just below, I'm in my garage. It's a single brick-built building, and no, it is not very warm in here today. Um, Right. Yeah. Yeah. So where should we kick this off? Should we talk about the Brighton under 21s game first of all? So
Yeah, go on
essentially,
then.
it's 3 wins in a row for Wiltshire, and this is good, isn't it? Because
Yeah,
wins breed confidence. I am worried about the Forest Green one because nearly bottling a 3-goal lead can be quite severe for the confidence. However, I'll point this out to you. From the 3-goal leads we had bottled in the past, we actually won this one.
yeah. Well, I was talking to you about this on WhatsApp, didn't I? About this already, and saying out of the ones I can remember recently, this one we actually got 3 points from. Um, So thinking back, obviously Bournemouth in the Premier League and then Swansea as well in that season. I think it was the season before we went up. It was the game before we smashed Coventry.
Yeah.
But yeah, we won it. And you're right, it could have been completely derailing, but it wasn't. Yeah, mad game. We'll get onto that. I'm sure people will want to phone in and have their say on it and how they feel. It's a really weird game to know how to feel. I will say this as well, right? So we did the Halloween bit with our little boy who's 3, got him in bath, in bed, ready for 7:30 kickoff. Brilliant. Night's going well. Glass of wine in hand, ready for the football. Couldn't make it tonight for those reasons and a few others away on Saturday. Um, and then ordered a takeaway in as a nice treat. Takeaway got delayed, so it was like 2 hours, 2.5 hours. I think the takeaway took in the end.
Oh,
Like I ordered it, so and then as soon as I got that text from them saying they're going to be half an hour late and then further late, the goals started going in at the wrong end, and it was like, where has this night come from? It was going so well, but yeah, it's amazing how quickly it can turn around. In terms of the Brighton match, though, I mean, it feels like a million years ago. Good run outs for a lot of people. Did a Dolphin play the whole 90 minutes?
I
Close
think
to?
he did. Yeah, he
Yeah.
did. And I think he did all right, a right back. But all
Yeah, he
the
did.
headlines were Finley Evans, who became the youngest Luton Town scorer in our
Yeah.
history. And I heard from people there, obviously, they were checking dodgy stats from God, what's that website? Transfer Market, which I'm surprised Transfer Market even have like that information. So they announced in the stadium he became the youngest goal scorer since Keith Keane in 2002, which was wrong. And my colleague
Because it's
Will
Ricky
from
Hill.
Hatters Heritage, yeah, it was Ricky Hill. 17 years, 25 days. My big shout out to my colleague Will from Hatters Heritage, who absolutely smashed the stats. So much so, even Simon Pitts was impressed by it because Will is just at another level when it comes to stats. Um, but Who else went to another level? Finley Evans. Fair play to him.
Yeah.
And shout out to Harry Fox, first Luton-born academy product to play for us since Josh Neuville. Wonder what he's up to these days.
Well, we all know, don't we? Getting player of the month awards left, right, and centre, isn't he? But yeah, it's great. It's a lovely story for the kid, and it clearly meant so much to him. I really enjoyed his post match
The
interview.
kids.
Actually, really level headed. He is a kid. Come on, we are.
Yeah.
We are miles old enough to be his father. But yeah, it was great. It was really good to see. And he clearly, it clearly meant a huge amount to him as well. I think apart from the goal, though, I mean, the fact that he scored is the headline, but I thought he had a really good game actually. I thought he played really well in a tough position for a young player to come into as well. I thought he had a really good game. There are a few others that I thought came into that side and gave Jack Wilshere a bit of a headache. Liam Walsh, one of them. At least I thought did very well. I think Nakamba started very rustily for me in the first half, but actually was much improved and looked like he wanted to do a job. And that's going to be important when you think about the players that we've got available in those positions as well.
Just on Nakamba, I'll pull you up on this because you must have been just angry because your takeaway got so delayed. I thought Nakamba
that was on Friday. He did after the first half, but I thought for the first 20 minutes he was all over the shop, but which I think we said at the time. But but I think after that, after he settled into the game, I think he was very good. I think Walsh provided as well that some of the balls that he delivered into the box were fantastic and easily could have ended up in goals as well. So it was good. It was good to see both of them back. And giving maybe Wilshere a bit of a headache there. I thought Nahki Wells had a very good game, and I think he had a very good game against Forest Green as well. So that's two. I think he had a good game against Northampton, which we said. Both Stevie and I said this in the post match there as well. So,
I kept trying to call in to like poo poo you.
Yeah, you
guys.
did. We ignored you.
You wouldn't let me in.
We ignored you.
You wouldn't let me in.
Yeah, because we're having a good chat about it. Look, I think at the end of the day, he missed sitters against Northampton. He definitely did, but there's no doubt that he, particularly him and Lamine Fanny in the last game, and indeed in the Northampton game as well, did brilliantly. I think as we were talking about the Brighton game, it was good to see Yates get a couple of goals too, wasn't it? Just to get those goals in, regardless, for all of our strikers. Bar Nordas, who had his chance but didn't take it, sadly.
Oh, that was horrendous.
Yeah.
It really was. Yeah, got to be doing better when you're 1-on-1 with the keeper. Yeah. You really do. See, with Nahki, I need to see him do it in the league. I need to see him have a good game in the league and actually scoring goals in the league, rather than just doing it against Brighton under 21s and a National League team, scoring goals from 3 yards out. But I will maintain, like, from what we saw of Lamine Fanny and Nahki Wells, like we're talking about the Forest Green game now, what I saw of Nahki Wells and Lamine Fanny from that game, yeah, it looks like a good partnership up top. Genuinely,
yeah,
it does.
A really good partnership. It clearly worked in training as well. I think when it comes to him, just one thing on this as well, and again, Stevie and I were talking about it last week. Nahki Wells is 35. He's not expected to play every single game. He can't be. Our expectation on him can't be the same as it was on Adebayo and Morris last season, because it's crazy to think that he would have that same impact. He is the sort of Cameron Jerome of League One, right? That's why we got him in, to be that player. And I think that actually, with a little bit more of that pressure off, I think he will be. And while you're right, he could have scored a lot more goals than he has. He's made a lot of goals in the league and in the cups as well. I think back to Peterborough and the goal that he made there. He was front and centre of a lot of the counter-attacking we're doing against Northampton as well. So I think you're right. Goals need to come. I think that's confidence. And hopefully one of the strikers getting in form will push the other ones. I really do think that will happen as soon as that competition, because all footballers need it. They all need it. They all need that competition. They all need to know that someone, if they don't have a good game, there's someone right there that's going to get step straight into the team. And in terms of our strikers, there's not been that this season, has there? Really, there's not been a striker there you think, well, if I don't score a goal today, this Yates will come in and score. That's just not happened. So it just takes one of them.
Yeah, no, I hope so. And the change in formation certainly has shuffled the pack a little bit. We saw a bit of Ali Al Hamidi in that Halloween game as well. Um, so there's certainly options up there. I find it very weird that he was sort of pushed out on the wing, especially when he wasn't so fit. But yeah, that second half against Forest Green, it's still quite worrying how, like, yes, we won the game, but ultimately it is a case of nearly bottling it. And we said it before we even, hit go on this stream. It was, nearly snatching defeat from the jaws of victory once again. And like there is no
Yeah.
reason for us to be that much of a bottle job.
No, I mean, look,
Uh,
there's no getting around it,
and we could have
but
lost that. It was just the width of the crossbar
we didn't.
that was the virtue. Yeah, I know, but we didn't. But
We
what
didn't.
sort
We
of effect
didn't.
will that have in terms of psychology for the players? Like, will they be thinking, "Oh yeah, um, 3 wins in a row, baby," or will they be thinking, "Oh well, we nearly absolutely ballsed it up against the National League side on
I think
national
that's down
TV"?
to. I think that's down to us as a fan base as well to take the positives more than negatives from it. But yeah, I think it's well. Look, we'll know, won't we? We got arguably one of the toughest fixtures coming up in the league in Stockport away as the next league game. I mean that will be the acid test of where we're at, because obviously, if we capitulate in the same way that we did against those, it will be a different story. I would say that, you know, you're right. There's no getting around it. The second half was appalling, and some of the decision making at the back, in particular, was kind of absolutely epitomises how badly we've been playing at the worst of Luton Town over the last 2 seasons. We've seen it so many times. But just take it back just one point first, in that we scored 4 goals and 3 very good goals as well. 3 very good goals from open play, which, that in one match. And yes, okay, it's against a lesser opposition in Forest Green, but they're a team that are doing well, who are, you know, who are going to be motivated to come at us. And FA Cup produces shocks. It wouldn't be the only shock of the weekend, and it won't be the only shock going into the second round as well. So, we looked composed. It was the problem, as you said, is the second half, and how we approach that second half is the concern. And I guess that maybe it's the fact that simply we're just not used to being 3-0 up very much recently, being in such a dominant position with so long in the game to go. I don't know, but I felt like it was all completely in their heads, all of it. I mean, look, Cal Naismith went from one of his best games against Northampton, arguably his best game for Luton this season against Northampton, to an absolute capitulation in the second half. Mengi, the exact same. He had a brilliant block in the first half. I thought he had a decent half, and then just failed to read the game completely. Just let players go left, right, and centre. Obviously, was responsible for at least one and probably two of those 3 goals they scored. I think was Mengi. Longwyke as well. We know that he's been put in a position where it's not his position, but we know he can play a lot better than that. I thought he struggled with a diagonal ball all game, and obviously poor clearance at the end. But we saw those same players play a lot better than that against less of a threat. Admittedly, they didn't have the players in the first half that they brought on in the second half, and it made a difference. They suddenly had players running at them. We didn't really see that so much in the first half. And, I think we've got to deal better with teams that demonstrate the intensity that Forest Green did, and have other teams. Lincoln were exact same. That level of intensity and pressing, we tend to fall apart a little bit, and it's that fragility, that mentality, and that's not going to go away completely anytime soon. I hope that people will take it as we could have lost that game, and I would argue under Bloomfield we would have lost that game, and I would argue under Edwards in the Championship season and maybe the Premier League, we would have lost that game. So the
We've
fact that
seen
we
that.
didn't,
We've seen
yeah,
that
exactly.
happen. Yeah.
We've seen it happen exactly. I mean, obviously Bournemouth away is a much tougher test than Forest Green at home. I get that, but I really do think that we have to go and say, look, we could have ended up, because I do think if we had lost that game, by the way, that kills our season dead. I really do think that would kill any momentum, and we haven't, and instead we're coming away from three wins in a row. But yeah, I mean, the mentality thing for me, I don't think it's a case of players just suddenly being terrible. I just think it purely mentality. Those two goals in particular. The first goal we'll give them. It was a good goal, very well made. Yes, was he given a bit too much time and space over on their left-hand side, our right, to cut in and shoot? Probably, absolutely. But you've got to hold your hand up and say that's an excellent goal. Penalty is naivety in the utmost extreme, and the last goal, their third goal's ridiculous. The amount of chances we had to clear that ball and didn't. So, but you've just got to hope that it's a mentality thing, and that people like Chris Powell are going to be working on it.
Yeah, absolutely. And on the penalty thing as well, I thought it was absolutely hilarious how hard Mengi got skinned by that, but that's no reason to like send someone racist abuse. And absolutely abhorrent from whoever did that. It said in the statement it wasn't a Luton or a Forest Green fan. It was probably just someone that sort of lost their acca or something like that. Something
It's a
stupid. The
disgrace.
internet's full of idiots. And
Yeah,
I
it's an
genuinely
absolute
think all
disgrace.
the players should all come off social media or just like deactivate their DMs or something like that, because it's part of the reason I came off social media, just because there are just hateful people out there.
Yeah, there are, but I mean, I think that doesn't solve the wider problem. Look, I don't want to get too into it, but look, if we allow the racism and racist discourse within our mainstream media all the time, within our politics, then it's inevitable that it's going to come out in football as well. We see it all the time, and it's absolutely disgusting. And if you are someone who has sent any of those things, then you're a disgusting human being, and you shouldn't be involved in or be allowed to be part of competitive sport. It's a ridiculous thing, and look, there's no excuse for it. There's absolutely no excuse for it at all. But it keeps happening. I mean, Eli had it countless amounts of times since he's been with us, and now Mengi as well. Is this the third time this season there's been a racist incident? Once was at Bradford, including one of I think a Luton fan. Not that it matters. I feel like there was another one, but either way, it's at least twice. It's a disgrace.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's something that we just can't get away from. It's been going since the dawn of time, and it will just continue. That's just the way it is. My opinion of they just need to get off social media is primarily just to sort of protect themselves and
Yeah,
make sure they don't have the ability to receive those types of messages. It's what I've done. It's what I've done. I've received abuse. I've just deactivated my social media presence. No one can send me abuse. The only ways to send me abuse is by getting in the comments here or calling in and saying it to my face. Or you can see me on the concourse and say it to my face. I don't mind. But if you're gonna abuse someone, abuse them to their face. Well, no, maybe not. But I lost my train of thought there. Be a man
shall we?
about it and see what
Shall
happens.
we? Shall we see what's in the comments? I don't
Oh
think
yes,
anyone
let's
has
have a
abuse
look at
in the
the
comments, by the
comments.
way.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Um,
yeah, it's quite a chill comment section, isn't it?
Yeah, B Hatter
Um,
saying he's listening this week from Morocco. All right.
yeah,
I
lucky
mean, it's
boy.
warmer in my
Okay, yeah, yeah.
utility room
Rub
than
it in.
Ollie's garage, but I'm still pretty jealous.
Yeah, it's like the Arctic here. It's like from where Lassie Nordos comes from. It's absolutely freezing in here. Um, Brown apparently on his way back. Who knows? It's just that
Yeah.
truck gif about the truck that's about to hit that bollard, but it just keeps
The
going and
Pelly
going
Ruddock,
and going.
the Pelly
It's
Ruddock fitness update. Yeah,
yeah, it's not going to
exactly.
happen. I don't. I'll believe it when I see
I,
it. I really
I
would.
don't know. I feel like Wilshere being in charge will light a fire a bit more. I think that there. I don't know whether that's fair or right on someone like Matt Bloomfield, but Jack Wilshere being our manager makes a difference. I feel like with things like that, Jacob Brown suddenly might decide that he's fitter than he thought he was. Just
Yeah,
my thought.
maybe, but it will help as well
Yeah,
if we're winning. Players don't want to motivate themselves to come back into a team that's losing or fighting at
yeah,
the wrong end of the table. It takes longer for people to get, fit again. Players will declare themselves unfit, but as soon as you're in a winning team and you're fighting like at the right end of the table, surprise, surprise, players come back. Also a comment about Izzy Jones. He went through the full 90, did he, against
yeah, yeah. He was really
yeah,
good as well. I
yeah,
thought
on
he
the
was really
left
good.
wing as well.
On the left one, he loves his
Phenomenal.
inverted wingers, doesn't he? Well, that's the Arsenal way, I suppose, isn't it, of doing that? But he's looked really good. I think
I
it
think
felt like
it's
it took him a
good.
while.
I think it's
Yeah,
good because you got Bramall who's giving that natural width from left back. And when you play an inverted winger, it means your forward just naturally isn't as isolated. And that is a
yeah,
big problem. That is a huge problem from what we've had over the past couple of seasons. M1 Jams here says if Charlton Morris, I think he means Carlton, if Carlton Morris scores 20 plus goals this season for a struggling Derby team, I'm really going to lose my proverbial. He couldn't hit a barn door last season. Like to see how the strikers are coached here.
yeah.
I think did we talk about that Carlton thing? I think we might have talked about it on WhatsApp.
I
Can
don't
I
think we
talk
did.
about it?
Maybe.
No,
Yeah,
no, no,
go
no.
on.
I think I talked about it with Deggy actually. Deggy was like, "Oh yeah, look, Carlton scored a hat trick." I was like, "Have you
He did.
seen the hat trick? Have you
A
seen the
classic
hat
Carlton
trick?"
Morris got two good goals in there. Header and
Well,
he beat the
oh,
keeper.
come
He oh
on.
no, come
Come
on, Ollie,
on.
you can't
He was slipped.
listen.
He was a
No,
mile
it's
up
a
for
good
the
goal.
second. Okay. The
Right.
header for the corner was
Yeah,
good. The marking was
good
terrible.
header.
It was a
Yeah,
good
good.
header, but the marking was terrible. The second goal, he was about 20 yards offside and slipped right through by the Sheffield United midfielder. The finish was
Question.
good. The finish was good,
Question.
but he was slipped
Yeah.
right through, and then he was outrunning an ancient fossilized Ben Mee.
Question.
Yes.
Does Carlton Morris score that last season for us? Because
Yes,
the
he
answer
does.
is no.
Yeah, yes,
No,
he
he does
does.
not.
He
How many chances
100%
did he
does.
have? And he doesn't score them
Carlton
last
ended
season
up
for
being
us.
our top scorer. The problem was we weren't
Not
putting
last
him
season,
in the right
was he?
positions. Yeah,
Maybe it
last
was.
season he
Well,
wouldn't have even got that
that's no
chance
bar.
because we weren't playing him as a central striker. What we saw against Derby, Sheffield Wednesday, um, whenever and I forget like who else he scored against. Whenever he was in front of the goal, he scored. That was what he did. But he
He
was
certainly didn't
never
all the
instructed
time.
to just stand in front of the goal. And what I said, what I used to say in every single post match, what I saw from Carlton was he would drift out to the wing, he'd pass the ball to one of our wingers to do the thing where they get to the byline and sort of slam it in from the byline, and that winger where they were slamming the ball in, Carlton was like pretty much standing right next to them because he didn't have the puff to get. He hasn't got the legs. He hasn't scored any goals this season similar to that he scored against Norwich or Swansea in his first season for us because he hasn't got. It's a fact. He hasn't got those legs anymore. He hasn't.
Well, it's not a fact because he was injured, wasn't he? So, and he's still relatively young, right? Look. I
Yeah,
think that we need to stop worrying too much about what ex players are doing. To be honest, I think it's good for him if he's doing well. Good for him. He had a poor season last season, along with 23,
everyone.
24 others. I've not got a grudge against him. We know that he was poor at captain us, although there must be something in it because he's been captain for Derby this season as well. But look, he's scoring. He's making the most of chances, and he is in a better position to score as well. That's a coaching thing rather than a Carlton issue, which is what the question was anyway. But yeah, look, good for him. Same with some of the other players that are doing well. Kaminsky's having a much better season by all accounts. Bell's having a much better season. Burke's
He's injured
playing
now.
football. Oh, is
Burke is
he? Oh,
injured.
okay.
Yeah, they're
Oh,
both
right. Okay.
injured.
Well, right. But were playing better. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, so
It's what a competent coach can do
just
to
leave
you,
it.
you know?
Well,
Yeah.
but look, I
But
think
look, we won 3 in a row, and that is
exactly.
competent coaching from Wilshere, from Powell, from Corcoran, from Bridges. You know, got they've got a tune out of these players, and whatever competitions these are in, you got to win your games. Winning is currency for confidence. But you said it earlier, I said it earlier. The real acid test is Stockport. We got to see if we can turn it on for that game. What Luton turns up? Is it the first half against Forest Green, or is it the second half against Forest Green? And by the way, I think Robbie Savage, I think he'll be a pretty decent manager. I was
Yeah,
very surprised with him. You know, he's
yeah.
made players better. He brought players in, but I think they said on the commentary, I wasn't there because I was out trick or treating um, with my kids, but got back for
Just on
the
your own.
game. Yeah, I was just out trick or treating.
Yeah,
Me,
that's me turning.
37-year-old man, just out, knocking. Can I have some chocolate, please?
Yeah,
Um, yeah, and it's interesting watching the games on TV because you get those little nuggets of commentary. And the fact is, he's brought 5 players from Macclesfield. I have no clue what division Macclesfield are playing in, but I mean, what is it? National League North,
it might. I think
maybe
it's below that actually.
below that. So he's
It
brought in
might be
5
below that,
players
but
from there.
he did
He
very well at
he
Macclesfield,
he
didn't
did
he?
very
Like,
well at
well, he
Macclesfield.
appointed
Some beautiful
himself,
players. Yeah,
didn't he?
yeah,
So,
yeah. There
but
was
he
a
did very well.
documentary about it. He did well,
Mm,
and he obviously knows the game very well. And he brought in 5 players. Um,
yeah,
brought in 5 players from Macclesfield to Forest Green, like a couple of levels up, and he's made them better players. That is what coaching's about: taking players and making them better. And the way he put a rocket up those players' asses like at half time. He said in his interview, like he didn't go in there effing and blinding. He had a conversation, and it was very interesting that Jack Wilshere said he had the same. He said the same thing. Like I think it was second half against Northampton, maybe. He said, we just tried to get the point across calmly, and sometimes you do need a rocket up the arse type manager,
you
but
do.
sometimes a conversation and pointing it out is sometimes better.
Yeah, look, I think that's important to say that, absolute credit to Forest Green, and on balance, they probably did deserve to win the game. I think from that second half, just that momentum shift, and an absolute fair play to them. I do think though that for us, it will take longer to switch things at Kenilworth Road than it will do away from home. There is still clearly that pressure on the shoulders at home. We've seen it a lot, haven't we? Especially in the second half when things start to go wrong. We saw it against Mansfield in Wilshire's first game. I'm convinced that Naki Wells scores that penalty, we go on and win the game. But
Yeah.
you knew that goal just before half time absolutely killed us, and I think it will take quite a long time for that to shift. I think in the meantime, I think Wilshere showed against Northampton that he can play more than one way and he can be sensible away from home as well and soak up some pressure. I think we're going to clearly have to do that. We're going to have a Cal Naismith from the Northampton game and a Mengi from the Northampton game, not from that game. And hopefully a Dauphin starts that game for me as well. He has to start. He has to be in the team, wherever that is.
Does he play right back, or does
I
he play
think so.
centre back?
I think he probably does because I don't think that he's going to change I don't think Naismith's coming out. I think Wilshire's made it clear he wants a left-footed centre back. So, as far as I'm aware, he's the only left-footed centre back that we have. So, therefore, I think he stays. I think probably Mengi stays as well. And therefore I think Godolphin comes in for Long White. Now, I don't know, but I think that's likely to be the case, and we need those players to step up, like
There
they
are
did in
options.
against Southampton.
There
There
are
are
options.
options,
Yeah.
and there's an interesting quandary, and maybe people talk about this on the chat as well in terms of who comes in then and who's impressed enough from those 2 cup games to come into that side, because it's a question that we asked last week after the Northampton game, and clearly there's been some, like Dolphins, one of them that made a massive impact at the end of the Northampton game that I said should start. but there's others there as well. Obviously, depending on Clark's fitness. Walsh, for example, whether he comes back in, I thought he did again. He helped dictate the play. Him and Saville dictated the play in the first half. When Walsh comes off in the second half, it changes for me
It
quite a
fell to
lot.
bits.
We lost
There was a
control.
comment
Yeah,
earlier that said that. Yeah,
yeah,
it fell apart as soon as he came off, and angers some Luton fans who just want to hate on Liam Walsh. But
yeah.
that's the fact. He can pass the ball. He was a bit ring rusty at times, but he's incredibly tidy on the ball. What was he the replacement that we needed for Ross Barkley? Absolutely not.
No,
But
of course not.
what can he play? Can he play in part of as part of a midfield
Mm,
three? Absolutely, he can. And Jack's identified him. Jack's impressed with him. Jack's pointed him out. And
yeah,
whatever Jack thinks, and obviously Jack's been advised by Chris Powell. And Jack knows midfield footballers, doesn't he? Having played midfield himself. Or maybe he
yeah.
just likes short players.
He just likes short injury prone midfielders. Well, we've got plenty of them. So nowhere there. What was I going to say? I also, and you feel free to answer this as well in the chat. Does Ali get back in the team? Because I don't know where. For me, Richards is almost undroppable.
Yeah,
I think
and
he's been
Izzy
brilliant.
Jones as well. But as you say,
Izzy
yeah,
Jones has shown
it's
on there,
probably Richards on the right. He's made it his own because he has that touch,
or
doesn't he?
Couture. Yeah, he's
Yeah,
so
Kajua
mature
as
for his
well. He's
age.
made a case, but maybe Kajua comes in like at the end of a game, but then maybe
Yeah,
that's Jaden Morris that does that as well.
not quite.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I know
he
the
should be back soon.
options.
Mm.
He should be back
I
soon.
can't.
Maybe it's the Ruel Walters one. He's been 3 weeks away for about 4 months.
God, let's hope not. I love. Of course, I'm really excited about Shaden Morris, just because any player that's that quick is exciting. Look, I think that Ali, we know there's a player in there, but again, I think maybe that's good for him. Maybe it's good to come out and have better competition and know that he's not just got a safe place in the team. Because he was the first name on the team sheet at the start of the season. That's certainly not the case now. I don't see
Yeah.
where he fits back in
For
at the
me, I
moment.
think Ali's absolutely gone off the boil since that second video of his YouTube channel launched. I don't know if you've
Yeah,
seen that.
you.
That was
Yeah,
cringe.
no, I've not seen it. No, you were full of praise the first one. So
Yeah, the first one
um,
was incredible. It was probably one of the best Luton Town related content that I've seen.
yeah,
It was
yeah,
fantastic and real insight into the squad ahead of the season. And then the second one is him renting a van to go buy overpriced shite in London, and it was really cringeworthy. And it was all
it sounds.
overpriced. They end up in JD Sport.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it,
I mean, I didn't see
yeah.
it. Nothing you've said about it since has
It's
inspired me to go
it's
see it.
worth it purely for the guy at the end who sort
Right.
of like some random bloke just turns up on the screen and starts like he's obviously like stoned out of his head or something. He's like, "Yeah, man, I don't know this guy at all, but he's obviously winning at life, and everyone be kind to each other, and try and win at life." He just goes on a diatribe, just rambling about absolute bollocks. It was hilarious. It's worth it just for that, but it was so cringeworthy. And since
Right.
then, I feel he's gone majorly off the boil. I don't know why. Maybe because he was upset he couldn't afford those overpriced clothes, or
Maybe it's
who
that. Maybe
knows.
maybe correlation doesn't equate to causation. Maybe just for that one.
Maybe.
Just I'll pick up because Kate's comment is absolutely right. Where's the callers? Yeah,
Yeah,
where
where
are
are the
you? Come on,
callers?
people.
Everyone's just
Let's be
enjoying
having you
listening to us
in the most.
ramble, to be honest. Couple of other
Aren't we?
comments here as well. Stevie Kilgore's on one tonight. Ollie, Mark, is there an argument for Clark and Walsh in the middle of the pitch? They were good together
Yep.
towards the back end of the season. It does look more dynamic than Saville and Clark.
There's an argument for it, but
Yeah,
Saville for me has been pretty. I don't like not having him in the team. He's another senior voice. He's had more good games than bad this season as well. He's been one of our better performers, and he can pass the ball too. So he
you
can
you
do
you
that as
have to
well.
have
He can
Saville.
pass from deep. So
It's entirely who
yeah,
plays in the double pivot with Saville.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
But for me, Lamin's becoming pretty undroppable as well. I know that he
yeah.
has. I know that Lamin doesn't play at that level for 90 minutes. That's my only thing for him at the moment. Wilshire's made it clear that he's got things to improve on, and mine is that he can go missing for little periods in a game. But that's kind of the life of a box to box midfielder. It does happen. You know, if the other team's putting pressure, then that will tend to happen. But I don't think you can drop Lamin either. I think he's been fantastic since he's been back in the side.
Have you
And he'll only
noticed
get better.
since Jack Wilshere said he could be our Frank Lampard, his
Yeah,
his improvements in the late run into the box, and like goals have come from that. Like
100%.
scored against
Yeah.
Northampton like that, and was it Northampton? Yeah, I think it was Northampton. He scored, wasn't
He
it? Yeah,
scored.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
he
Late run
scored.
into
He
the
scored
box,
near
and
post, didn't he? Yeah, and against
yeah,
Northampton.
and then against Forest Green as well, like with a couple of tremendous late runs into the box as well. Absolutely
Yeah.
sensational. I'm really excited about him. I'm just worried now we might lose him before January. Well, we might lose him in January.
I was going to
That
say,
that
well,
is
he's definitely got
a real
until January.
concern. Yeah,
Well, but I'd rather have that concern because that means we're playing well.
yeah.
We've had the security of not having to lose anybody for the last 3 transfer windows because we've been so shite. So it's quite nice to have that as an issue, really, isn't it? Because it means players are performing. It could happen. I think Si came on a couple of weeks ago and mentioned that Jack Wilshere's pool might keep a few here, and I think he's probably right, probably will. Whether Lamine Fanny's one of them, I mean, we know that if Coventry come back in for him, he'd be mad, really, wouldn't he? Not to go. Let's be honest. Talking to Frank Lampard, because of where they are, and what they're doing at the moment, and if he
It
can't
will
score a
never
goal in that
last.
team. You're still riding that train. Oh dear. Yeah, look, me and you both. Look, we both said the same things about Frank Lampard. We're both being proved wrong utterly at the moment. So yeah, fair play to him. I'm pleased for Coventry though, because I have a soft spot for Cov, as most Luton fans do. But yeah, look, if he's playing that well, that we're worried about it, that for me is a good thing. But it is a dilemma in the middle of the pitch though. It really is, because Clark for me has been absolutely the man of the match for the last 2 or 3 league games.
But it's a good dilemma to have,
Of
because
course it is.
Liam Walsh can't be expected to play every game. I think Jordan Clark will give you everything that Liam Walsh is going to give you. In addition,
Yeah,
some leadership, and there is also a possibility that Jordan Clark could leave in January. There is. Um, right. Oh, we got a caller.
you've got a
Burley's.
caller.
We'll get you in. Just before we go on to that, Stephen Manley said, "We missed you at the Luton content creator session. Were you invited?" I can confirm I was there. The interviews, they're being like splushed into one. They will come out. They'll come out when they come out, I suppose. Ollie from Stevie. Ollie
Blacklisted.
was at the content day. He arm wrestled Gary Sweet and won, did a single chin up, and walked out puffing on a vape. There's one lie in there. I cannot do a single chin up. Right, let's bring Burley in to this chat. Good evening, Burley. How are we going on, mate? What is your actual name
Evening.
for? Yeah, good evening. What's your name, mate? He's muted. We can just talk until Burley unmutes. It's good
Yeah.
to have you on, because you've always
Oh,
been
he's off.
very, very positive. Um, oh, yeah, he's gone back out.
Try
Right.
one more time. See
Where
how we
is
get on.
from Stephen Manley? Where is Makoto? Is he injured? He was
Yeah,
on
it's a
the
good question.
he was on the bench last game,
Yeah.
so he's just probably out of favor. Well, not out of favor. It's a
I,
rotation.
I think that's the thing, isn't it? There's now only one space, isn't there, in the centre defence, because we're playing 4 at the back. Hallelujah. And we know as well that Makoto at right back, same as Longwit, not convinced whatsoever. That's his position. I think a right centre back has to be his. He'll get his chance. I'm sure he will. He's too good a player not to.
Well, that's the thing. You
We'll
got to
see.
play right backs are right backs. You got to
Yeah.
you got to play round pegs, round holes.
hmm
And
Well,
I think
Yeah.
right now, Ruel Walters is possibly the only one that can do that job. Odofin had a good crack at it, though.
Yeah, do you know what's interesting as well? We were talking about Izzy Jones earlier. The fact that he's playing him on literally the opposite side of the pitch, you couldn't be any further
Far,
away,
far away,
suggests
yeah.
that is no longer, because, I think like many others, I thought that when Izzy Jones comes back, there's another option there for right back or right wing. I'm not suggesting, by the way, that is his best position. I'm pleased to see him further up the pitch, but it's interesting, isn't it? Because it does pin everything until January on Roy Walters, who is currently still very much injured, and I don't think we're expecting him in the foreseeable. Didn't they say there's been another setback in his recovery? I can't keep
That
up with
was
it, like
like
you say.
2 months ago.
Yeah, I
It
can't
was 3
remember.
weeks ago. It was 3 weeks away. Then there was a setback, and then I think it was 2 weeks ago. He was 3 weeks away. Who knows? Look, who knows with our injury record? There was we had a head of medical geezer from Newcastle. Can't think of his name right now. Danny Murphy. He was in there for about a year. Newcastle famously had like loads of injuries last season. Anyway, he's gone now. So yeah. Hopefully heads will prevail. Simon Parcell back in charge, so we'll see what happens. And yeah, hopefully we'll bring people back from injury and actually keep them fit and happy and ready
Be
to go.
nice.
Right. I think we got Burley. Have we got Burley? Hello,
Yeah, can you hear
Burley.
me?
Good
Hello,
evening.
can you hear me
Hey,
now?
we can hear you. Yeah,
Hey,
Oh,
evening.
yes,
sorry.
we
I never,
can.
I've used other systems, but not Discord. Not used this one before. So
Yeah, well, once you use Discord, you'll be hooked. It's a pretty good one. Unfortunately, we're not Three Counties Radio. We can't have a fancy, fancy studio.
yeah.
We just got to
Yeah,
make do with what we
Ollie
can.
can't even afford heating, so
Exactly. I can't afford a
Right.
second channel as well on my audio interface either. Which
Was
is
it
the
expensive?
hold up for our interviews. Yeah, oh yeah, they are. They definitely are.
Oh, right.
Thank you to Blackstar though. Anyway, Burley, how you getting on, mate?
I'm okay, thanks. Yeah, I'm okay. Glad to see the team doing well. Oh, picking up,
yeah.
going in the right direction. That's what I could say. The only thing I'll just bring in about Nordas. What has he got to do, or is he going to be offloaded in January?
It's got to be
Go on,
pretty
Ollie.
tough
You
for
you go.
him. Yeah, I really feel for him. I really feel for him.
The last game he played, when he missed that chance, the camera zoomed on his face, and he had that grimacing look on his face, saying he knew he should have scored. And I was thinking, yeah, he should have scored because he's losing his rep. I think he is losing his little reputation in Jack Wilshere's mind about, should I keep this geezer or not?
Yeah, but
Yeah,
there are
I
just so
think
many options up front, aren't there? But with this 4-3-3 as well, like ultimately he's behind Naki, he's going to be behind Ali Al Hamadi, he'll probably be behind Jerry Yates and Jacob Brown when he comes back. So
I know.
it's a pretty horrific um
And you've
position
got
for him
Bode
to
as
be
well. You've
in.
got Bode, who's just.
Oh yeah, I forgot
I
about
don't think
Bode.
they'll get rid of him because he's so young. I don't know.
Bode
yeah.
played on the left wing though against Brighton under 21s. He actually looked mustard, didn't
Yeah.
he?
He was very good. Yeah.
I couldn't go
Yeah.
to that much in the under 21. I didn't miss that one. Yeah.
I mean, for me, Nordas is a little bit of a victim of the scattergun, desperate approach that we had in that window, and that's not anything to do with him or his fault. But we did sort of last minute get him in, and because we needed a striker of sorts, and clearly didn't get our first or maybe even our second choices with it. I think that he, given time and space, he's been shown in pre-season and in some of the games this season that he can find the back of the net, and he's got a decent shot on him, but the amount of time and space that he needs at the moment just isn't anywhere near the sort of level that we're at in the. I think that's where the problem comes, and obviously the longer he goes without scoring or getting many minutes, and this is not fair on him really, but this is what happens with strikers that are out of form, is particularly one so low down on the list, then they get 2 or 3 minutes like we saw with Joe Taylor at the end of his spell under Rob
Paulie
Edwards. You
Woodrow
give
as
him
well.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, you give him 2-3 minutes at the end of games, and and you can't
That's right.
realistically expect a player to impact a game in that time, and therefore it kind of it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. I think that we might end up selling him, or at least loaning him off in January. That's my feeling.
Yeah,
I think he goes
I
back to
reckon he'll go
Swansea.
out on a loan because, I mean, he came in last January, didn't he?
Yeah.
And then what's his Bloomfield decided not to play him much. He didn't have the just kept, didn't play him that much, and I think that he's not in the upper ranks of being first choice. He's like an also ran, but when he has been on, all the fans, all the responses I'm getting, yeah, he plays. He brings other players into him. He slows it up, brings the midfield back towards him. He's just not scoring goals, is he? So
I think he'd work well in a 2. Genuinely, he holds up the ball very well. He plays with his back to goal very well. But confidence is the currency. That is it, and you need goals to get more of that. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'd only counterpoint that slightly. I think I've been singing Wells praises despite the fact that he's missed loads of sitters, but I think he's actually done well in games. I do think though that Nordas's biggest problem is what is perceived to be his biggest strength. I don't think he makes any use of his height particularly well. I don't think he heads the ball. I don't think he deals with the ball in the air very well. I think he's actually very good on the floor, but that's my issue. And I think when he's
we've
on,
got a lot
we
of ball
often
players that position, haven't we?
Yeah, exactly. That's it. So he's got the competition there, but when he's on, we tend to go more direct, and he isn't that player. I don't think that, despite his height, has dealt very well with that, and that's the problem. Like you say, we've got ball players in that
conversely,
position.
Ryman, I think his off the ball movements, as in his movements when the ball is being crossed in, which is ironically a style of play that we're moving away from completely now, trying to manipulate the ball into the central areas. I feel his movement when the cross is coming in is better than that of Wells, Yates, and the rest, to be honest, because the way he gets beyond the defender that's marking him is something that we haven't seen from Wells or Yates. I don't know what Al Hamadi can do. Like the chance he had against, who was it? Stevenage? Yeah, the way he got ahead of his defender and hit it straight at the keeper. Again, that chance he had where he hit it straight at the keeper. I think he needs to work on his finishing. He's by no means a finished product, and I think if he can work on his finishing, and yeah, you're right, work on his, making the most of his aerial dominance.
And his strength, he's got no strength compared to defenders as well. He gets muscled off the ball quite easily. But you're right. I'm not disagreeing with you, by the way. That he's got attributes. Of course, he has. But as Burley said, there's lots of other players in most of those senses that can do it. And while I agree that his positioning has been better, I think Yates. I'm still convinced that you don't become a bad player overnight. Yates and Wells are instinctive goal scorers who've scored a lot at this level.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. I'm thinking that they've obviously they both had a bit of time to bed in. I don't think how much they played together either. I don't think they played together that much. They played individually all right and tried to get on well with their midfield. But I think together, ideally, we'd be lovely if they can play together really well. But with Yates a bit further forward than Necky. But the only other player I want to talk about was Okosso. Is he behind Longwick now in the picks? Because
I think he's certainly behind a Goffin.
I reckon he was dropped because of his sloppy play, which he does have that in him. He's sloppy, but his endeavour and his speed and his hunger. I like his hunger. His watch. I thought would be above Longwick. But Longwick's only a lone player anyway. He's going to go back to Wolves, isn't he? So.
Yeah, I
Do we have an
think
option?
Makoto, yeah, we have an option on him, but is he doing enough to
No, I'm not
justify
saying he
that
is.
option?
I'm just asking. It's an interesting question, is it? I think, in answer to your question, I think it's quite a difficult one. I don't think he should be. I like Makosso, but I don't like either of them at right back. So I think this is part of the problem. Is Makosso Makosso's made positional mistakes quite a lot when he's been at right back, and he's let players go because he's been far too far inside and trying to cover a right centre back position that doesn't exist. I think if Makosso plays, he's got to be in at centre back. But then you're talking about shifting Mengi out, and whether or not Wilshere would do that, I don't know. So that's the concern.
That's a conundrum, isn't it?
Yeah,
You can't. He's positional. Well, is a problem. It's the same like when we had last season with the wing backs with what's his name, Chong and all that. They didn't know where to be. They didn't know where to be in when they're positional. They're all right going forward, but as soon as they didn't know where to be, you could tell they were out of sorts, you know. And so with I would think, even someone said about Kadura playing right back. No, he has played that position a few times. So that is an option.
Well, you saw when Kadura played right wing back for us towards the beginning of the season. Can't remember what game it was. It was a home game, and I think we lost. Was it Plymouth? I think it was Plymouth, and there were a couple of goals that were completely avoidable. Yeah, well, it was Plymouth. Cross comes in, Kadura, he's like waiting for the ball to just go past him. You need round pegs, round holes. It hasn't worked for Makosso at right back because he's not a right back. We saw against what was it? Lincoln. Their left winger just had the freedom of the left flank.
yeah.
And we saw that again when Longwick played right back. He kept getting done with big diags from Forest Green because lo and behold, he's not a right back.
Yeah.
You need people that know how to play that position. And for some reason, our recruitment hasn't been consistent. With the likes of last season, we bring in Nordas just because, well, you know, they were looking around, they couldn't get Richard Kone. Like, we need to bring in a forward. Where are we going to bring in a forward from? And we went through this entire summer window without bringing in a right back and not replacing Doughty early enough when it was fairly obvious he was going to go.
Who's the right backs at the club? Is it just Will Walters? We got another dedicated right back?
Walters.
No, it's
Walters. That's it. Just
Walters. I would say on a positive of this, although I agree with all of those things, we talked about it as well. And just for the record, I think the one thing Makosso offers is that pace in behind as well. You know, clearly Cal doesn't have that pace. Mengi's no slouch. I think Makosso is easily the quickest centre back we got. All I would say on things that you mentioned as well, Ollie, is that we are now at least playing all of the round pegs in round holes that we possibly can. I have no thought at all that he would ever play Kadura in a right back position. I just don't think he will. I think Jack Wilshere's made it really clear that he wants his wingers to be wingers. Might be the other side in the case of Izzy Jones, but none of them are going to go back to that, which it's great.
But Izzy Jones isn't having that defensive responsibility by playing as a left winger.
That's it.
An inverted left winger, you're taking that defensive responsibility away from him. In the wing back system, you're expecting your wing backs, your wingers, because we were playing pretty much with them as attackers. You're expecting them to cover the entire length of the pitch and defend at the same time. And as shown with Plymouth, you know, the wing backs, when you're playing Ali and Kadura, as you know, trying to play them in a 5 at the back when you defend, they cannot do it. So you need specialists in those positions, and Makosso.
I never liked 3 at the back because the only thing I don't. It's all right if you've got a really clued up side and you see some of the Premiership side play it a lot, but unless you've got, it's hesitation because when the ball comes inside right or inside, is it the centre person going to go and meet it, or is it the left-sided? Is it the left-sided centre back going to meet it? You know, that 1 second delay is the problem, you know, and that's how I look at 3 at the back. I put 3 back, just it applies hesitation. Who's going to go for it? When you have 2, you know, well that's your side, that's my side. Whoever comes, you know, it's simple. Football is supposed to be simple, so, but it can, yeah. So that's why I never like 3 at the back. I know it can work. It can work when you're mostly attacking. You've got a really dominant side, and then you're a bit more. You really only 2 at the back, and one the central centre back is pushed a bit forward, you know. So, or vice versa. The only thing I want to mention about now before I go is What was it now? Oh, it'll come back to me now. I just had it there. I was just want to mention about it. It'll come back to me. Just
Well, while you're thinking of it, because I'll just
Yeah.
follow on from your point about 3-5-2, because we, obviously we got promoted on the 3-5-2.
Yeah.
But because for
Retirement
me,
formation.
but yeah, and Ollie's going to enjoy this. No, I was talking about into the Premier League when we were playing the 3-5-2 from the Championship. But that was when we had Carl Morris further up the pitch and holding the ball up, and you have players that can keep the ball in the right end of the pitch. As soon as you do that, yeah, no, I'm not disagreeing with that point at all. But as soon as you do that, then you have the likes of Drame on one side and Alfie Doughty being able to link up the play a lot better. It's how we won games, isn't it? In that,
and being organised
in that season,
players
and being
what they had
relentlessly organised, 100%.
Yeah,
100%.
and a big part of the defending with the three at the back as well. If a team comes and they're clued up, they can pull your back three around very easily, because with a pitch that is wide, well, any pitch really, we play on like the narrowest pitch in the Football League at Kenilworth Road. It's very easy to get slipped in round the sides. If a wing back is pushed too far forward, you get round the side very easily. You can go between the center and the left or the right very easily. If someone comes, as I said, if they're clued up, if a coach knows what they're doing, you can slip through them so easily. And that's where the organization comes in. Having players that know what they're doing. And for instance, do you remember Hashioka coming in, pretty much playing every single position of that back three? Yeah,
I felt sorry for him and going. He was a good player. I liked him, but
well, we could bloody well use him now. We need a right back.
He wouldn't play in League 3. I mean, he wouldn't play.
No chance.
League Division 3. No, he won't play there. I just remember now. What I want to say is that before I go, is Ted and Mengi. He's still a bit of an enigma with the Luton fans, because he sent a tweet out after the last game we just played after the FA Cup saying apologies and all this and that, and that's the first time I've ever seen a tweet from him ever. And I really like Luton Town, the club, to do a Chigozi type interview, like the interviews with him, just to see his background, who he is, how he feels about the club, just to get the character of him. Because at the moment, what will happen now, until that happens, every time he makes a mistake, you want to get a big load of fans that he don't care. He wants to be off in the January, or if he can, or he wants to be off at the end of the season, because we don't really know his character. He might be genuinely trying to restock his game, restock his player, who he is as a player, which we hope he is, to make himself look at me. I still have this thing. It's all about him and not about the club. That's my personal view. But he might be totally different, because I don't know the geezer. But that's what I like to hear. I like to hear his viewpoint about playing for Luton now in League One.
It's a good point, and the simple answer is we don't know. I spoke to Wilco before the season started, and he said Mengi was a completely different person in the off season. But I don't know if he was just telling me that because he wanted me to disseminate that information or think differently about Mengi. I don't know. He does need to try harder. I feel, but he's young. I feel he gives up on situations quite easily. For instance, when a Dauphin cleared the ball from the line against Northampton,
he was closer, wasn't he? Officially,
Mengi was closer. Mengi
Yeah.
was closer, and a Dauphin absolutely busted a gut to get that ball away. It feels he's very low on confidence at the moment. Maybe he's lost some self-belief in himself. I honestly don't know, but I agree. Like, there should be an interview with him. Who knows? Maybe the content creators will get invited in and have some access to some players. I don't know. But a big part of it is, Ryman, you might disagree with me. He was turning heads in the Premier League, and now blink, you miss it. 18 months later, he's playing in League One.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it?
I don't
Hopefully, what Southampton's going to happen, isn't it?
And hopefully Sheffield United too. That'd be wonderful.
Double relegation. Anyway, it's been great talking to you guys. Great show. And
cheers, buddy.
All right, I'll let someone else join in now.
Thank you for joining us. Really appreciate you taking the effort to call in on Discord, mate. Have a good one.
You too.
Thank you. Cheers.
All right, bye.
We got a caller. Way. I was
Yay!
going to
Yeah, well,
mention.
when it's going good, mate, people don't want to come in and moan, do they?
Well, let's hope we start turning that around as well. I think we start putting a few wins together, particularly convincing ones, and that will change definitely. Because I mean, me personally, if I was on the other end of this, I'd want to call in far more when we're doing well. But maybe that's just my incessant positivity that everyone would have caught up on in the time we've been doing this podcast. There's been a few comments on there in terms of. Nordis had only just started pre-season when we signed him. I guess Jack will look back in some of his. I was going to say, blimey,
Is he
it's been a
still in
while. It's a year.
pre-season?
Yeah, bring in some of his former charges. Yeah, well, that'd be nice, wouldn't it? I think that we are hopefully going to bring in a few players. There's not going to be loads in January
Max
at all.
Dowman.
Yeah, that'd be nice. There's not going to be loads, but if they don't bring in a right back now, I'll be very, very disappointed. What was I going to say? Still, Steve Kilgore, quick search. Apparently, Wells, Yates, Al Hamady have scored 219 combined goals in the EFL. Yeah, exactly. I mean, they've all got quality. They're all quality
You've got to
players.
feel bad for Nordas because it's a massive relocation, and he seems like a really level-headed, lovely person. Again, going back to the Millie Ali YouTube video, the first one from his channel, not the shopping video, and you see a Nordas, he just seems like such a lovely, innocent bloke, and I feel bad for him that he's just he hasn't hit the ground running. It's he's come from Tromso. He just hasn't done it. I feel so bad for him.
I don't know where this data had come from because he wasn't pulling up any trees there either. He wasn't scoring a load of goals for them. So
I think the character is right. He's got the right
character's right. Oh, I'm 100%. As you say,
they smashed the character.
Yeah. He seems like a nice guy, absolutely. And I get the kind of one for the future, but then do you spend best part of 3 million quid on one for the future when you're now in League One? Of course, I think our problem often with that side of the recruitment of getting players in to improve them is that we don't have the facilities to do that behind the scenes, and in terms of we know our academy status needs improving, all of that stuff. Do we have that capability as a club to do what your Brightons and Brentfords have done? Brentford always had their B team. I don't know what they still do.
They do.
We
lost 5-1 to them. We lost 5-1 to Brentford B just last week.
Yeah. So they've got the infrastructure, and I think that's always the problem. Whereas we were talking about Nerfield earlier, but he's another good example of a player that we could have brought through, but at the time we didn't. There was nowhere for him to go for us. So I get kind of why he went, but we never make the most of them. Bim Pepples of the world, they just never work out for me. And so I think
trying to be smart.
Yeah, it feels a bit like
smart.
that.
Yeah,
it's a lot of money for that. I do think it's a bit of a panic buy, but yeah, it's not Nordas's fault, and he doesn't, he's not one of those who isn't trying, heart's not in it, all of that stuff. It's certainly not the case. For me, he just doesn't have the quality. He hasn't shown that he's got the quality to be able to score the goals that we need.
And his opportunities are going to get fewer and more far between as well.
Yeah. Well, now Al Hamady's fit, clearly he's going to. I would imagine he will play a big part in the Stockport game. I don't know about you. I might see him on the wing, but I don't know why, because there's so many wingers we got now as well. But so I think he'll play a big part.
I reckon Al Hamady will come on for the final 30.
Yeah, me too. I think that's probably about right. Yeah, I think he'll probably start with Wells and Lamine.
Wells seems to be the go-to starter, doesn't he? Which
does.
Is weird at 35. Like Cammy J didn't get that many starts at 36.
No, it's interesting. We were saying this last week that it's not. I don't think that's why he was brought in. But I think those, like I said, the brace for Yates ain't going to hurt him. So, and he scored a penalty. We need people that can score penalties as well. That's going to be an interesting one, isn't it? Who's going to take the next penalty? Because we do win quite a lot of them this season.
We've
got quick players. But who's
I
taking
mean,
it now? Because
Izzy Jones is going to win a couple of pens. I can see
yeah,
that now.
does
Yeah.
Wells step up? Yeah, as long as he scores, of course. But I'd really
He
respect the
needs to
bloke
be
if he did step up.
practicing his penalties. Like
Yeah,
that penalty the Forest Green scored, that was a hell of a penalty. Like
good pen.
Keeley went the right way. Was it Keeley? Yeah, Keeley went
It
the
was
right
Keeley.
way.
Yeah,
But it was just powerful. Like if you're going to be a designated penalty taker and you're going to take the ball, you got to take that onus. You got to spend like an hour, or like half an hour. Take 50 balls, take a ball bag and just like absolutely slam them into a goal after training.
yeah. I think. Well, look. I mean, Wells took penalty for Bristol City and scored far more than he
He's
missed as
missed a
well.
lot of penalties in his career. I
I
think he
think he's
missed a
got. I
penalty
thought he
on
had a
his
pretty
debut
good.
as well.
I thought he had a pretty good percentage, but I'll have to have a look. But I thought he had a
No,
pretty
no,
good
no. I
overall
saw
percentage of
numbers.
penalties.
I saw numbers on Discord. Someone put out numbers. He's missed a lot of penalties over his career.
Well, in that case, I mean, you've got Yates, you've got Ahmadi, you've also got midfielders like the likes of Walsh and Clark, who people like that, I'd be quite happy to see take a penalty. So
Yeah,
there's
if Clark's
lots
on
of
the
players
pitch,
in this squad that you
Clark
think.
should be taking them, in my opinion.
Yeah, but you never know, do you, with things like that? I mean, yes, I would say the same thing, but it's not always as straightforward. But hey, we've been spoilt with Carl Morris, haven't we? Penalties. That was pretty much a guaranteed goal every time he stepped up. That's it's not the case, everyone. But we will see.
70% of his
Yeah,
goals this season as well, and that's the last I'll say about Carlton Morris. Penalties, tap-ins,
listen,
and people
he's
being
having a
played
good
through by
season.
the opposition.
He's having a good season. He's scoring goals, and you can't ask for a striker to do more than that. That's what you're asking of him last season. He's doing it. So, but fair
I mean,
play to him.
he's doing it for another team. I couldn't care less.
Yeah, fine. Right. Well, that's good. Let's leave it there. Right. Anyway, we've gone over talking about Carl
Yeah,
Morris
we've
again.
gone over a couple of comments to finish. From Kate, I think Mengi's attitude changed a bit after he got injured. I think it woke him up a bit. Berry Hatter, got to get rid of our players before we can get new ones. That's going to be difficult. Oh yeah, isn't that the Alfie Doughty quandary, isn't it? You know, we had to get rid of him before we brought in the next person. I think that's absolutely
Before we even looked. That's what happens.
Yeah.
Before I look
and
for my
Kev,
next house, I've got to sell this one and move out.
no,
That's
that's
how it
exactly
works.
what Kev said on the
Yeah,
pod
really.
with, yeah, he was like, "Oh yeah, it's like a house, isn't it?" You know, but no, you have one house, or if you're lucky, like 2 or 3. You know, we have 25 players. You know, you don't have to sell a player before you know, yeah, you're looking for a house before you move into a house, right? Yeah, and we're obviously looking, but we went for the, you know, for what it's worth, I like Bramall. I like him, but you know, could have been looking for a right back as well. Hatter Dave, Ollie, did you and Gary make up on the social media day? Short answer, no. Long answer, you got to wait for the video. Yeah. No. Brimister, good week for progression in the cup. This is a good one to finish on, isn't it? A good week for progression in the cup competitions. Also in the next round, the Beds County Cup after a 5-0 win against Dunstable.
All good.
Yeah, all good. Very good.
It's all good. We need to be in the cups, don't we? With the squad that we've got, we need to be in the cups for as long as possible. Definitely.
That is how
FA
Nordas
Cup
is going to get his, you know, his game time. Although Wiltshire is going strong in the cups, which is mad.
Yeah, but we've had the ability to, because we're not at the moment. It's not impeded on our league games. We've not been playing league game 2 or 3 days before. Bloomfield did the same thing. Bear in mind as well. And obviously, well, he was one of them, wasn't he? He'd just been sacked before the second one. Is that right? I can't remember now. Yeah, it was the Cambridge game. Was the game that Lawless.
That was the game that sealed it. Yeah,
that's Cambridge. That's just after he was sacked. So yeah, but we've been lucky in that we've had a cup game and then a clear break because the international breaks or whatever, and obviously FA Cup's played on the Saturday, at least for the first 3 rounds, I assume. And then it might move things around. But yeah, so it might not be the case moving forward in the Johnson's Paint Virtue LDV Trophy Pizza Cup. We'll see. I don't even know what the structure is now. We finished the league process, so I've no idea how that works anymore.
Do you go into another league?
Or, God knows.
No, I think we go into a regionalized knockout. Second round, third round, fourth round, semis, something like that. Yeah. Who knows? Who knows? This is new territory. We haven't been in this competition since
It's old
2018.
territory.
Yeah, it's
Exactly.
old new
It's
territory,
very-
and you know the
Yeah.
format has probably changed since the last time we were in it. But good times, and yeah, we'll be back for the midweek catch up. Wednesday night, 9 o'clock. We'll be previewing the Stockport game, which is a
Spicy.
big game. Yeah, it's a spicy. It's the Hatter Derby.
The Hatter Derby.
It's the Hatter
Yeah.
Derby, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be a spicy meatball, that game. Can we make it 4 on the trot? Who
Gonna be
knows?
goals.
Who
There's
knows?
going to be goals, aren't there? Right, they're scoring for fun.
Goals.
It's going to be goals. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's hope. Let's hope, and we're on the right side of it. You know, it'll probably be a 1-0 squeaker.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Oh, love
Yeah.
that.
Maybe.
Take that.
We'll see. But we'll discuss that more on Wednesday. Everyone, have a good evening. Thank you for the calls. Thank you for the comments. And most importantly, come on, you 3 in a row, Hatters.